Welcome to today's session. Honestly, I don't intend for this video to take so much time. I'll try my possible best as I can to be short, right? But you see, this real estate conversation. Real estate is something that everybody at a point will get into. In fact, as a matter of fact, real estate is a sector that everybody uses whether directly or indirectly. You use real estate. You don't just know it to that extent, but either directly or indirectly, everybody uses real estate. And for those that are really hoping to go into real estate investment for the first time, you're a new buyer or you're a new investor, or you've been doing this before, right? You want to do it the right way, especially for those who are doing it for the first time. You want to do it the right way. You want the right guide. There are lots of advices. There are a lot of people out there that are throwing different stuffs out. But truth is, there is the right way to do things. That's the simple truth. There's the right way to do everything, right? And real estate happens to be one of that sector where if you really want to have a profiting outcome in real estate, you must know the right way to actually get to do it because it is capital intensive. It involves a lot of money and nobody would like to get scammed, right? So in order to prevent some of these regrets, people need to be guided in the right way on how to do it. So without further ado, I today we're going to be talking about how to buy and purchase a property the right way. How 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 do you get to buy a property? Whether you're buying a land or you're buying a house, how can you do this and do it in the right way? Remember, I said something earlier that there's the right way to do everything and anything that you want to. There's the normal way to do it. There's the right way to do it. Right. So how do you buy properties the right way? How can you do that? And if you're in Port Harcourt and you're looking to buy a property and you're looking for the right guide in Port Harcourt to get a property in Port Harcourt, whether you're in Port Harcourt or outside Port Harcourt, but you want a company that can stand for you in this city, contact Nexora Properties with the number that is going to be displaying subsequently on this video. So that's what we are known for at Nexora Property. We help people to get properties and get it in the right way and do the real estate investment in the right way. So without further ado, I have some points down here that I have noted down, and I'm just going to be taking them one step at a time. If I'm not able to finish it, maybe this is going to be the part one, or maybe check my channel and watch out for the part two of this video. If I'm not able to finish it, so I'm going to let us know. Okay, so the truth is, when we go online, when you come online, social media, you get to see different people, different real estate consultants or different realtors per se that have different information, giving different advice on how to buy property, how to do this, how to do that in real estate, a lot of how-tos, right? And everybody airs their opinion out, which I'm not faulting them. I mean, that's okay. A lot of realtors, real estate consultants, practitioners have different things to say to people just for visibility sake and to promote their brand and all that, which is okay. And one of the things you hear most realtors talking about is the documentation when it comes to real estate. But for example, one thing that most realtors fail to understand is there's a difference between a title and a title document. These are some things that most people don't know. There's a difference between a title and a title document. I'm going to be using an instance. A title of a title shows the state in a very simple term. A title shows the status of a land, while a title document is the proof of the title, or is a proof of the status of that land. According to Raymond Ijoma, the lead facilitator of Fortune Estate Academy, he used this instance. He said a title is like a a king. Take for instance a king, right? A king has a title as a king, or a chief has a title as a chief. The title or the status of a king is that he is a king. I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but I want you to get my point. So the status of this person is that he is a king. What is the proof? Or he's a chief? He's a chief. So what is the proof that this person is a king or a chief? Is that they have a crown to show you, or they have their red cap to show you, and other things that can show that this is the proof for my chieftaincy, or this is the proof for my royalty. That's how a title and a title document is. So for instance, a land that has a C of O document, the title of the land is that this land is a C. This land has C of O. That's the status of the land. It has a C of O. Then the proof to show that this is the status of the land is the C of O document. These are two different terms that people must understand. The title of this land is a deed. The proof of this title is that it has a title document called deed of conveyance, or any other deed at all, deed of transfer, as the case may be. These are two different terms that realtors must understand, or most realtors don't know. But one of the things I've observed about most things that realtors say is very generic, right? So one of the things they tell you is, first, when you're getting a property, ensure your documentation is correct, ensure your documentation is right, ensure your document is legit, right? That's what everybody says. Look out for your documents, have a company that can help you in the document process. That's what everybody says, right? And that's okay. But it's more deeper than that. It's more deeper than that in the sense that there are, how can, a more deeper question or a more deeper conversation should be, how can this process be done? How can I know a legit document? How can I know a legit title document when I see one? Or how can I verify that this document is actually legit? These are some of the corners that most realtors don't know. Or how can I get a verified document in case there's any dispute at all? How can These are some of the things that they don't give so much advice on. Why? Because not everybody know it. Not everybody knows how to, or how you can actually spot a title document that is legit. Not everybody knows that. And so they cannot talk about it. If you don't know it, you cannot talk about it. They just know the generic thing of looking out for the title document, which is perfectly fine. But beyond that conversation, how can you help? How can you come in as a real estate consultant or as a realtor to help this client to verify if this document is legit? How can you help them to settle disputes about their land. These are the real conversation. These are the things in real estate investment. Because most times when clients purchase land, most times you actually went through the right channel. You went through a company, they actually did everything very well for you. There's no issue, but somehow you ended up in the court, not because the property is not legit. It's actually legit, but you just need to show the proof with your title documents. And how do you do that? There are certain things in the title document that can show the legitimacy of your property, that can help you to win that case in the court. These are the real conversations that people don't talk about. Many realtors don't talk about, many consultants don't talk about. And this is very important because doing this would really help you as a real estate practitioner to gain trust more with a client or with people. So these are details that you are supposed to know. And the good thing about it is you don't need to necessarily be a lawyer for you to know how to verify documents. You don't need to be a lawyer yourself for you to know how to for you to check out the legitimacy of a title document. You don't need to be one. All you just need to do is to have access to a lawyer that knows this. Have access to a lawyer that knows how to check for documents, how to maybe I'm going to be doing a separate video on this later on. But to just establish the fact, to just establish the point that this is a generic information that most real estate consultants give, and it goes way beyond that. So how do you get to buy a property and buy it in the right way? Number one point I'm going to be striking is do not buy any property or do not pay for any property until you are satisfied with what you are seeing or what you are getting. I'm going to explain. A lot of people fall into this category of paying for a property when they still have doubts or questions about the property. You are not cleared. You don't understand the transaction. You don't understand what you are seeing. Something inside you is telling you there's something fishy. But because maybe the person is a friend that is recommending the property to you, because you trust the friend so much, you are paying for the property and later end up having issues. And that's another thing that people should not do when it comes to business, especially real estate business. If your friend is recommending a property to you, please don't buy the property because the person is your friend. It will be very dangerous for you to buy the property because the person is your friend. No. I understand that you have trust for the person, but please have a legal system that can help you to verify that document. That can help you to verify that property. Anyway, have a legal system that can help you to verify that property. And this is what we stand for at Nexora Properties right here in the city of Port Harcourt. We have we have lawyers that are specified in properties that can help you check the legitimacy of your land or of your title documents. So don't do real estate business because the land was recommended to me by my friend. We've been friends for 25 years. No. So don't proceed to make any payment transaction when you are not sure about the property. I'll give an instance. Earlier this year, January 2026, I got involved with a client. I will try my possible best to make the story short. So I don't want to go into much details because I don't want this video to be too long. But I got involved with a client reached out to me and told me he wanted to buy a house. He wanted to buy a house for so amount. And of course, in my company in Nexora, that's what we do. So we were sourcing for a house for him here in the city of Port Harcourt. And it got to a point where we saw a house. We actually did see a house, and the client per se was abroad. It was his wife that was present here with us in Port Harcourt. And so when we saw the house, we took the wife there, and just from the phone, we did a virtual inspection. We showed the man the property. He saw everywhere. He saw the sitting rooms. It was a duplex, by the way. He saw the sitting rooms. He saw all the bedrooms and everything. He was actually satisfied with the property. He was okay with it. So long story cut short, we were waiting for after the whole inspection. We were waiting for him to make payments. We didn't understand why he didn't want to make any payment, and we didn't understand why he was actually delaying, not knowing that he had his own lawyer. He had his own lawyer, and the lawyer was looking for a property for him in one of the cities in Nigeria. I don't want to mention, but so the lawyer was looking for a property for him in one of the cities, and the man was waiting because he trusted the lawyer. They've done business together in the past. Because he trusted the judgment of the lawyer, he had confidence in the lawyer. So that was the reason why he was why he was delaying to pay for the property that we were actually selling to him. But long story cut short, eventually the lawyer got to see a property for him in that city, and at the end of towards him making a payment for that property, he discovered the name of the property, the name in the account that was sent to him. It's not the same name in the document that he was shown. And he was asking his lawyer, questions, and the lawyer was able to answer most of the questions that he was asking. And to him, something felt fishy. Something was just not adding up. Something was not adding up. So he didn't proceed in making payments for that property. So he came back to my company. And unfortunately, when he came back to us that he wanted to pay for this particular property, it was sold already to someone else, right? So that's just like a summary of the whole story. So the point is, he was not satisfied with what he was seeing. So to him, something was fishy. He did not proceed, and that saved him a lot. That saved him a lot, and that actually costed the relationship between him and the lawyer, right? Because the lawyer was greedy. That's greed. I remember a story that Raymond Ijoma, the lead facilitator of Fort Real Estate Academy in Abuja, said. He made mention of a client that that walked into his office some years back, and the client brought documents of a land. And when he brought the documents of the land, it was, I think, about 4 documents he brought. The client brought 4 documents just to check and verify. And while Raymond was going through the document, he asked the client a question. He said, what is your, because the client bought the land from someone else. So he was asking the client, what is your, based on this document you've presented to me, what do you think your position is on this property? Are you the first or the second or the third or the fourth person to buy this property? The client responded and said, according to the seller, that he is the fourth person to buy the property. And Raymond responded and said, from what he's seen on this document, it's not looking like he's the fourth person. It's looking like he's more like the fifth or the sixth person to buy this property. And the client was trying to, it's not true, it's not true. But Raymond sent him back to the seller to ask some questions about it. And the following week, the client came back with extra documents. And when Raymond saw the document, he was like, okay, this is good. And on going through the document, he told him that from what I'm seeing in this document, that everything you've brought so far, you're not even the sixth, you are like the eighth person to buy the property. And that's it. That's something that people need to That's one thing that people need to look out for. Fortunately, he had not paid for the property. That's the saving grace. He wanted to make payment, but before making payment, he just wanted to confirm from a lawyer. So these are the things that we tell, check. If don't proceed to make any payment if you are not satisfied with what you are getting. Your instinct is one of the biggest assets that you have. Listen to it. Sometimes when something is not feeling all right inside you, please take a pause and seek professional help, especially when it comes to the real estate business. This is where my second point comes in, which is before doing anything about real estate investment, have a lawyer, work with a lawyer. Now, the thing is, it's very possible for you alone to verify a property by going for inspections. You don't really need a lawyer for that. You can do the verification of check out the inspection yourself. They show you the survey plan and everything. They show you the layout of the land. They show you where have been sold and where is available. All of these things just to check out the legitimacy of the land physically. You can actually do that. But what about the title document? What about the title document? You can't do that. That's why a lawyer's job is a lawyer's job. You can't do the job of a lawyer. That's the simple truth. One of the reasons why this is actually very important is because real estate is a business that has to do. No, there's this saying that every land belongs to the government. That's the simple truth, and that's true till today, and that's going to be true till tomorrow. And as far as that is concerned, it simply means that the law is involved. Because if you're having dispute with your land, the next place you are going to is the court. That's the only place you go to. Why do you go to court? Because documents are involved in this thing. Lawyers are involved. They are the ones that are in charge of crafting documents out for you. So a lawyer's job is a lawyer's job. And they are part of every title document that needs to be detailed enough for verification's sake or for legitimacy of your claim in the court. They are parts of the document that will really point out to the fact that you are the real owner of this property. There are parts like that in every title document. And this is the job of a well-trained lawyer. So in every real estate transaction that you are having, always ensure to have the backing of a lawyer that is good in these parts. And once again, that's what we stand for at Nexura Properties. We have lawyers that are specified in properties that can help you in document verification, that can help you in crafting documents that can aid these processes for you and help your claim in the court, if there is any claim at all on your land, to be legit. That's what we stand for at Nexura Properties. So the place of a lawyer cannot be overemphasized. You should have one, and you should have a company that can back you up in terms of any legal issues concerning the real estate business. The point I'm actually coming from this conversation is one of the ways for people to really for people to do real estate investment the right way. I'm coming from the point of record keeping. It is very, very important when doing real estate transaction, because every little process of you getting any property at all can help you in the court if it is properly documented. Every little process, every little thing that was paid for, should be properly documented. And that brings me to my third point, which is if you're making a part payment for any property, whether it's a land or a house, ensure that there is a receipt that shows this transaction, or ensure that it is recorded or added to the title document. This is very important for documentation because it will show that this is how you got the land. You did not make outright payment. You made part payment, and this is the receipt for how much you deposited initially. And when you made another payment, this is the receipt you got. If you paid 3 times for that property, ensure that these 3 payments are recorded in different receipts, and ensure that you take these receipts, photocopy them, keep them, add them to your title documents if necessary. This is very important because it will help you in the court if there is any issue at all. It will help the people it will help the judge, the lawyers, to know that you know what you are doing. You know what you're doing. So if you're doing any part payment at all, make sure that every payment is recorded in different receipts. This is really, really going to help you. And laminate it and keep it somewhere safe. Number 4 point, please, if you're doing any real estate transaction, I heard a story from a client of mine. He was not the victim. A friend of his was the victim. We're having a discussion one of the days, and he just told me about it, and I felt pained. He told me of how, I don't want to go much in, of course, I don't want to go into details. It's private. But then he was telling me of how his friend made cash payments for a land that he bought. Despite he bought it very cheap, but he paid cash. And the whole thing didn't turn out nice at the end. And that's another thing. Please, if you're making any real estate transaction, ensure to not pay cash. Please. No matter how cheap the property is, make sure your transactions are via transfer. Make sure your transactions are via transfer. This is because a receipt is going to be generated from your end and from the end of the person that you are paying to. This is really, really good to be very helpful. And also ensure that before you transfer, please make sure to state it on the description of the transfer that this is for land purchase. And please be detailed enough. Exhaust the numbers of characters that is in that description. Exhaust, if it's 500 characters, please exhaust the 500 characters. Be detailed enough. This is also going to help you in the court because when you present this document, it will help them to know that you really know what you are doing. So please, every transaction as far as real estate is concerned should be done in transfer, not cash, because a receipt should be generated from your end, and a receipt of approval should be generated to the receiver's end. And when you have these receipts, please ensure to keep them. Laminate it or photocopy it and keep them somewhere safe. This is for record keeping. Or ensure to add it to your title document. Everything regarding that property, the receipts, the survey plan, and everything regarding that property should be attached to your documents. Keep it safe. And this brings me to the last point, which is when after you've paid for a property, please ensure that your document is private. Ensure that you keep it in a place where nobody can access it, because it is really private. I don't want to tell stories. I don't want to tell stories again. But there was a client of mine that carelessly kept his document before all he became my client, though, that carelessly kept his documents in the house of his relative. This is another thing. People trust easily too much. And I will keep on saying, when you are doing business transactions, please don't, because it is family member. Be careful. Don't, because it is family member, I trust the person. Please be careful. So this my client left this document or forgot this document in the house of one of his relatives. And some months later, when there was issue with the land, they needed him to, not because there is the land is not legit, but they just needed to see the document for him to prove, for it to prove some things. And the document was nowhere to be found, and the relative was nowhere to be found. The relative ran off with the document and every other thing. Not because the relative wanted the land, but out of wickedness. And that was how this client lost the land till date. Because if you cannot present the document, you don't. The, the, the land is not yours. It's a very sad experience. And that's how till date he lost that property. So please, after buying a property, do everything possible in your power to keep your documents to yourself. Keep your documents private. Everything. Normally, when after you get a property, three documents are usually printed. One is the original goes to the buyer of the land. One copy goes to the lawyer, one copy goes to the company, right? Please, when you get your document, the original, photocopy it and keep the original somewhere that nobody can access it. It's just like when you were in primary school, your JAMB results, your NYC certificate, and all of these things. The original is very important. Please laminate it and keep it somewhere. Because in court, when they are asking for the document, when they are asking for the original, you will need to present the original, which is colored to them, to show that this thing belongs to you. Okay. For subsequent video and guides on this, please subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to know how to do real estate and do real estate the right way, you want to invest in real estate the right way, and you want the right guide and consultation, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button on this channel so you can be getting more updates. And if you're looking to do real estate in Port Harcourt, you're in diaspora, you want to invest in real estate in Port Harcourt particularly, please contact Nexura Properties with the number that is going to be displaying on your screen. And we're going to be helping you and guiding you through the whole processes.